Pakistan has just released its very first economic census, and the numbers are shocking. Forget industries, forget factories, forget even the idea of becoming an economic power. Because according to this data, Pakistan has around 6 lakh mosques, 36,000 madrasas, but only 23,000 factories. Yes, you heard that right. More mosques than schools, more religious institutions than industries. And factories? Just a tiny fraction. Now I know, some of you are already smiling and saying, "Arey, what else do you expect from Pakistan?" But let's slow down, because this is not just a meme statistic. This is a mirror of Pakistan's economic direction, its political priorities, and the kind of future its leaders are preparing for. The first hidden point is timing. Why is Pakistan revealing this census now, after 75 years of independence? Not out of love for data. It's because the IMF is breathing down their neck. They're on a $7 billion bailout package. They've already missed 3 out of 5 targets. And the IMF wants to see numbers, hard, credible and geo-tagged, before releasing the next tranche of money. So this census is basically Islamabad showing the world, look, we finally counted what we actually have. In other words, the timing is not about development, it's about survival. Second, look at the structure. Out of 7.2 million establishments, 95% are micro-enterprises, meaning fewer than 10 workers. Only about 7,000 units in the whole country employ more than 250 people. That's not an industrial economy. That's a bazaar economy. It's dukaan culture, not factory culture. Pakistan runs more on chota kirana shops, retail stalls, and small service units than on large-scale industries. Which is why the planning minister is suddenly saying, see, our service sector, not industry, because it is our main job creator. It's a smart spin. Basically, they are shifting the narrative. Instead of admitting industry is collapsing, they are rebranding Pakistan as a service-driven economy. But who benefits from this? The IMF. Because this kind of data helps them push Pakistan into widening its tax net. If 7.2 million establishments exist, but only 2.5 lakh companies are registered, you can imagine how much of Pakistan's economy is informal, untaxed, and unregulated. The IMF's hidden demand is very clear. Tax these millions of micro shops, digitize payments, bring them under GST-like systems, and extract revenue. That's where this census becomes not just about counting mosques and factories, but about mapping every chai stall, every mechanic's shop, every madrasa, so that one day the taxman knocks at their door. Now let's talk about the social angle. 6 lakh mosque, 36,000 seminaries. On the surface, this shows Pakistan's religious identity. But the deeper story is land and power. Every mosque, every seminary is also a piece of real estate, often exempt from regulation and taxation, tied to networks of religious influence. In India, we keep debating how many engineering colleges or startups we're producing. In Pakistan, the national database is now showing more religious institutions than factories. What future does that open? A society that invests more in preaching than producing. And in the long run, this creates a population that is less skilled for global competitiveness and more locked into ideology. Contrast this with India and Bangladesh. Both countries have done multiple economic censuses in the past, adjusting policies accordingly. Bangladesh, for instance, bet on garments, and today it earns over $40 billion a year, just from that one sector. India diversified into IT, pharmaceuticals, and manufacturing. Pakistan, this is their first real attempt to even count. Imagine playing cricket without a scoreboard for 75 years, and now suddenly putting one up when you're already losing the match. Of course, one can't ignore the provinces. Punjab hosts nearly 60% of establishments. Sindh, mostly Karachi, comes second. That means development money, foreign aid, and IMF-linked projects will now tilt heavily towards Punjab and Karachi. Smaller provinces like Balochistan or Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, once again, left with scraps. So this census could also deepen Pakistan's internal political rifts. Now let's connect the global dots. At the very same time as this census, we saw China's Wang Yi visit Pakistan and the Asian Development Bank stepping in on some infrastructure projects that China was supposed to do. What does that tell you? Beijing is no longer willing to pour unlimited cash into Pakistan. So Islamabad is trying to impress multiple investors with credible data. This census is also a pitch. See, we have the numbers, we know where the businesses are, so come and invest. But the irony is obvious. What investor wants to put money in a country where there are 6 lakh mosques and only 23,000 factories? Now here's where I want you to pause and think. If Pakistan is sliding deeper into services and informal retail, what does that mean for us? On one hand, it reduces competition with India in manufacturing and exports. On the other, it increases instability next door. A weak economy means more social unrest, more radicalization, and possibly more migration pressures in the region. In geopolitics, your neighbor's weakness can sometimes hurt you more than their strength. What if tomorrow Pakistan collapses further and becomes a permanent IMF dependent state? Do we celebrate or do we prepare for spillovers? To be fair, one good thing here is transparency. For the first time, Pakistan is geo-tagging every establishment. That data can be used for better policy making, urban planning, and maybe even reforms if the government is serious. But let's be honest, Pakistan's history shows more misuse of data than real reform. So unless they actually act on this, it may just end up as another PDF on a government website. So friends, the big picture is this. Pakistan's economic census is not about factories or mosques. It's about showing the IMF, China, and investors that we have credible data. The hidden story is a shift towards taxing the informal economy, away from the illusion of industrial power, and towards a service-heavy, mosque-dominated society. The future this opens is uncertain, but the message is loud. Pakistan is no longer even pretending to be an industrial rival. It is trying to survive, one bailout and one bazaar shop at a time. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Pakistan can ever reverse this trend and become an industrial economy again? Or has it already locked itself into a service plus religion model? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's have a proper discussion. If you found this analysis useful, make sure you like the video, share it with friends, and subscribe to the channel for more honest, pro-India geopolitical breakdowns. Until next time, stay sharp and keep connecting the dots. Jai Hind.